we're live.
Oh.
So,
hello.
Yes, hi, Pam.
Hi, Nikki.
Since we're live, I just did a segment with Pam on YouTube Live, and it's going to be also showcasing on her channel. Pam is an amazing, extraordinaire lady that I recently got to know a couple of years ago through a women network, and I've always, your background is amazing, so we're going to get into that, but also where she's been these past year or so during the pandemic and whatnot, right? There's just been a lot that's been going on. So welcome, Pam. Pam Goodwin of the Pam Goodwin Show.
That's right. Nikki, hi. I'm so glad to be here at your restaurant. You know how much I love your Asian mint pad thai. You know, pad thai is my favorite, so. Look at this. Oh, I drank almost my fancy drink here. My fancy Mai Tai drink.
Virgin Thai Mai Tai. Cheers again.
On a Friday afternoon.
Yeah, very casual. I haven't seen her in 2 years.
I know. We met at Women's Leadership Live with Debbie Saviano and Stacy Shefflin and the one and only Linda McMahon at SMU.
Yes.
I cannot believe, at least a few years ago, about this time in March of 2019.
Yes.
And then when I saw you, I'm like, you know, of course I told you how much I like Thai food and pad Thai, and had to come here, and we met several times. And
you came to one of my cooking classes right here and had a blast, and I wanted to get to know you more. But this is probably a really interesting subject that I'm really excited that you're interested in sharing. Tell us where you've been this past year or so.
Well, October of 2019, I went in for my regular mammogram, and I did get diagnosed with stage 1 breast cancer. And having it as, you always think family history, but talking to the doctors, a lot of times breast cancer is not hereditary like we think it is, even though my grandma had it, 3 of her sisters had it. I always knew, I don't know, I put it in my mind that someday I would get it. And so, which seems kind of odd, right? But when you know, I grew up with it, with my grandma and everybody having them, like another one gets breast cancer, another one, when is it me? I kept thinking. You know, and so at my age, you know, just going in for a regular mammogram. And so now I'm on a mission to tell all women to get the 3D mammogram.
What's that?
So, exactly. Everybody's like,
I don't think I've done that.
So, most people do the 2D mammogram.
Let's record on. Oh, you got the fancy clip.
You have to, really, a lot of the places you have to upgrade to the 3D mammogram, but mine would not have been found with the standard 2D mammogram. So I'm on a mission.
Wow.
Because my pediatrician for our 2 boys, she ended up having breast cancer, and she is the one who told me about the 3D mammogram. And it just shows a lot more. And I actually had 6 p.m., lower 6 p.m., and even when they told me where it was located, because you do self-exams like they tell you to do, I still,
I need to.
Yeah. You need to do that once a month. Check yourself just to make sure you don't, feel anything. If not, get your annual mammograms. Request a 3D. If it's extra, you need to pay for it.
So, do you believe the 3D mammogram probably identified it while it was in stage 1? It sounds like to me, or else it could have been not found. It could have been way late out. That's priceless,
right? Because the type I have, which going through this whole process, and I did the BRCA test to find out if it's hereditary. Mine was negative.
What's a BRCA test?
So it's a gene test they do to see if you have it in your ovaries and different organs. It's a blood test.
Blood test, okay.
Any women you can do that right now, and you can find out. I've known several women. Their mothers had breast cancer. They took the blood test. They were positive. They ended up deciding to get full mastectomies. They didn't even diagnose as breast cancer. So anyway, so going through this whole process, I had no idea that there were so many different kinds of breast cancer.
How?
So that's estrogen positive. So I am estrogen positive, progesterone positive, and a different one called HER2 positive, which is the really, really aggressive one. So without that 3D mammogram, I could have, and if I didn't go there, and a lot of women are afraid to get their mammograms because they're afraid of finding something, but thank goodness for, you know, that they know exactly. So my type, even though it has the HER2, they know exactly how to treat it. And so if that's one thing, and a doctor came up with it, and you know, several years ago, but without that Herceptin, a type immunotherapy that I did have to take, chemo and immunotherapy, you know, it was, you know, women didn't live long without that, Herceptin drug that they invented.
When did you find out that you were, I guess, clean and clear? Like how do you call that?
Well, you hope that after I had to go through, you know, I had to go through 12 rounds of Taxol, chemo, a year of Herceptin, and now just regular blood tests. I had to do a CAT scan and all these other tests that are required. And then, you just hope that it...
So this is a yearly ongoing thing. Because I do have a few friends who had breast cancer. I actually have never thought to ask what kind, because people just say breast cancer is breast cancer, and this is really great information to know that there's different kinds, more aggressive, less aggressive, how it's being treated, how it can be found. So the 3D mammogram is the one that also told you that it was the aggressive kind, or that was a separate test?
After I had my mammogram, I went at about 10 o'clock that morning for my mammogram. And then you hope you don't get that call. But when I did get that call about 1 p.m., about 3 or 4 hours later.
That's really soon.
And said, told me that they saw something, which they had seen something years ago before, but they're like, come on in, and the next day I did have to go do a biopsy.
Yes.
And then the biopsy is the one in the pathology that tells you exactly the type you have.
Yes, that makes sense, because I have also had mammograms done when I was in Thailand, and they have this special, very high-tech equipment. I don't know if it's 3D or not, but now I need to make sure that it is 3D.
That camera
is
my
doing
Lord,
something.
yeah.
Maybe pause and start over. It's just, you don't want to get the call. And I forget that it's not like a, hey, we'll let you know next day, or like a pap smear, like we'll call you once we get your information back if it's positive or negative, and we'll leave a voicemail. Can I leave a voicemail? So this is very, very different, and I didn't even realize that. I guess, the more concerned you are scared to go get a mammogram, but how awesome it is to find out sooner than later, so that you can get it taken care of at a stage 1 versus 2 or 3
or 4 when it gets in, the rest of that. So, we had talked about you owning a restaurant. So anyway, once you're diagnosed, everything starts going through your mind, and you're like, okay, it's not hereditary. What is it? My doctor said it has to be environmental.
And that includes?
So that includes everything you drink. Are you drinking from water, plastic bottles that have the parabens in it? What type of shampoo? And what type of food? But all 3 of my doctors, my breast surgeon, plastic surgeon, oncologist, all 3 of them, I said, what can I do so this cancer does not come back? I can barely even say that word, but what do I do? And all 3 of them recommended a plant-based diet.
Wow!
Because I'm estrogen positive.
Okay.
All of the meats that we eat, your chicken, your beef, they're filling it with all those hormones and stuff. The cheese, all of that. Anything dairy, eggs, and then you'll read one thing, soy. Soy.
Yes.
I'll read real? One thing it'll say it's good for breast cancer. You'll read another thing that says do not eat any soy.
No soy milk, no soybean.
All of
so
that.
which is it?
So I don't know. So I have really tried to reduce the amount of meat that I eat and more plant-based. I've given up a lot of the dairy because I used to love the milk cream. But now I'm like hooked on, I've always loved coconut, thank goodness. So now I'm eating coconut ice cream, and I have coconut creamer in my coffee.
Beautiful.
And I even have the brand So Delicious.
Yes.
It's one of my favorites for as far as taste until you know, come up with some more products for
I
me.
will. And now I'm like, my brain's like churning.
But then I was going to say one other thing. You know, they say for women, as soon as I was diagnosed, they came out and said hair coloring causes breast cancer. And then another odd thing that they came up with, probably, I'd have to look it up, but maybe 2 years before I was diagnosed, I had a root canal. And they'll say 90% of the side you had the root canal will be the same side you have the breast cancer on. Sure enough.
Why?
So then you're like, you could
Why?
drive yourself crazy. So anyways, the best you can do is all in moderation.
I was about to say that. I have learned that if you eat everything in moderation, even controlling your stress level in moderation, exercising, everything in moderation. And you just remind me, it makes me think of like somebody says, you know, don't eat this or don't eat that, it's cancer causing. What is not cancer causing? I mean, stress, just thinking could be cancer causing. But again, everything in moderation. Do you do any type of like meditation or yoga or anything like that? Do you?
Every morning. So I've changed. I've really changed my stress level because for 30 years and owning my own business for 15 being in commercial real estate, everything is so stressful. I mean, and that's just being a mom and worrying and anxiety and you could go crazy. So every morning I wake up before anybody else is up and I listen to different YouTube meditations. A lot of prayer, a lot of spiritual, a lot of motivation.
Yes.
So I have my routine and I have to check it off.
So what are your top 3 favorites? Now I'm gonna go like make sure I do it in the morning.
A lot. I mean, being Catholic, I start off with the Catholic prayer, the ones that are on YouTube, and then I go into all the motivation. So some of them I listen to are from the Jim Rohns to the Steve Harvey to Bishop, TJ.
Yep.
Jake Blake.
Yes.
I just blanked.
TD Jakes.
Yep. And so I listen to those motivation, and a lot of times I will also walk. I walk every day, so at least 3 to 5 miles.
Love that.
Exercise is so important. So all last year, going through chemo treatment and all that, I had, even though I didn't feel like it, and my saying is you either have excuses or results, but not both. And so last year I walked 533 miles during all that. And so this year my goal is 800 miles. So I have to exercise and I stretch and I do all that as far as all that motivation. And then in the evening, I'm back to listening to a lot of motivation, more on the meditation side of calming down at night.
That's amazing. It made me think of this program that I went through not too long ago. We have like this deemed doctor who believes that you can treat your body with any type of illness or disease through walking meditation, stretching, eating actually very plant-based, and meditation, but also doing gratitude, praying, as well as helping others, because that actually increases your happy hormones, which is,
I love that.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you need to balance out all the stress that you bring into your system. And it's free. So they have had these, when I went on this camp, there was somebody who had stage 4 cancer in their nose. Oh, wow. Like a lot of very, very scary situations where their whole family say like, this is the last hope. And they would bring them and it gets cured. It could be the energy around it. Everybody's calm. There's no stress. You're eating right. You're walking. You're stretching and doing meditation. Nothing strenuous, so that your body stays in this like positive flow. and doesn't become very acidic, right? You need your system to be very alkaline, which is based on what you eat. Like even the butterfly pea extract in here is a non-cancerous product that we drink in Thailand because it's cooling. It's a very hot country. It's tropical, but they found that this particular flower is non-acidic, and it actually alkalizes and cools down your system, so it takes away any potential inflammation that's coming up, or kind of keeps everything like mellow.
Yeah, it's all that inflammation. That reminded me of once I was diagnosed, you know, the amount of what people, as far as the gifts that they were giving me for healing. I love researching and finding things, but people were sending me crystals, a rock that said healing on it, that I carried and brought to me to every doctor's appointment, to different beads to wear for all that, to every day I have all these pictures of going out in the sun and telling myself of the energy just going all the way through me, that it's all coming out of me, because people would be like, Pam, are you sure you have cancer? Because you look great, and your attitude, there's no possible way you're going through this. And the mind, it became more of a mind game to me than physical. And I was always a spiritual, religion, all that person. But I kept saying faith over fear, faith over fear, faith over fear on everything. And I just had a calm, it's amazing what happened.
You look amazing. I did want to say that too. Like, I'm sitting here and looking at you, and you're like night and day. Your skin looks so nice and bright and just shiny. Your hair.
Well, look at all the gray, but I know I have to go.
I was so much hair, like she didn't have to do much.
I was going to color it, but I'm like,
no color.
No color, right?
Well, there
Natural
are.
color.
I have to share with you some, Asian ancient natural colors.
Like that,
Funny enough, I think it's this butterfly pea stuff that they actually put on babies so that they would grow a lot of hair, because they make shampoo out of this, as well as another fruit called makud, which is not a fruit. Well, it's a fruit. It's a half like lime lemon kind of situation. But yeah, there's a lot of really interesting things that when I go back to Thailand, or if we go together, I'm going to make sure we're gonna get all that good stuff for you and explore and see, find some new fun products for you.
I love excuse me. I love that, because the number one thing is, when you lose your hair and then when it comes back. And I was always like, I cared about my hair, but not overly. It was amazing. I only cried like a few times, kind of like briefly, when the doctor called me, and then when I lost my hair. And so now I'm on a mission to find good shampoo, to create a shampoo and a conditioner for women when your hair starts growing back, because you want it to grow quickly.
Yes.
So
we have that in Thailand. I will have to get that.
And
for
we
you.
do not have that here, because I have been researching it. And that's like the number one question women want. How do I get after I'm done with chemo, how do I get my hair to grow back fast? Because I didn't wear any wigs. I bought those stupid things, and I'm not a wig person. I put on a ball hat, and I didn't lose my hair all the way. But now, wanting your hair to grow back quickly and natural, because you're afraid to put any chemicals on it. And so maybe you can help me with that.
I can. I actually have a few sources already that I'm thinking about.
But I love the food idea and what you're doing as far as how healthy it is. Because it's so important, and you realize how important food, and I'm researching, I didn't realize all the stuff that food does to your body.
Food is medicine.
Yeah, that's exactly true.
And when you don't over season something and you use just fresh ingredients and let those ingredients shine, those are the true flavors that you really want to be enjoying, and use it for healing. So even through that process, I learned a little bit about acidic foods and alkaline food or base foods, just to make sure that whatever you eat, you're not increasing the inflammation in your body. And it also, there's another tripper technique that they taught me is, if you are cold, that means your body might be too in the basic, So you need to drink something that's warming so that you keep it balanced. Or if you are constantly hot, that means your body is in inflammation.
Now, do you have anything for hot flashes?
Funny enough, this is like the cooling
like
thing. Yeah, drink it up.
This is the relief for everything, the cure for everything.
And also, if you do green juicing, green drinks, but out of vegetables that are cooling, for example, cucumber. Green apple's okay as well. It's not super sweet, doesn't add a lot of sugar. Light vegetables, lettuce. Think of like color as well as if it has like a lot of water. Those are really cooling vegetables. But if you think of something like, let me think, warmer vegetables like lemongrass is actually the opposite. So it actually would warm up your body if you drink lemongrass tea. And ginger, I think, is a medium, a neutral, but it also can warm you up. There's like a lot of different herbs. Like we play with a lot of herbs in our cuisine, and a lot of mint. Those is also very refreshing. Cilantro, for something that you would consider maybe more like a tomato is actually also a very cooling vegetable. So you should test it with your body. So let's say that you want to eat a tomato, and when your body experiences it, do you feel a cooling effect or do you feel a warming effect?
Let's see.
It's quite interesting how your body is actually telling you, even with your cravings. Funny enough, your cravings are actually telling you, if your body is in alignment, it's telling you this is what your body needs right now. I often have a lot of customers say, I crave your yellow curry. I want your yellow. It's turmeric. We use so much turmeric in our fried rice, our yellow fried rice and our yellow curry, because that's anti-inflammation. And I'm like, your body's inflamed. It's telling you need something to calm it down.
So you use the turmeric? No.
Turmeric. Sorry, yes, that's how they pronounce it.
How did you say it?
Turmeric.
No, what's the right way to say it?
You said it right.
Oh, did I? Okay.
How do you say it?
Turmeric.
Turmeric.
I love your green curry.
Green curry's good too.
Curry. Okay, that's any of that is good.
Yeah, it's good. It's so fun. Oh wow, we could explore this all over. Yeah, we can totally talk about food qualities and cancer causing, non-cancer causing. That would be really fun. So I know we've kind of gone on and on and on. We might want to eat now, but thank you so much for sharing your experience.
Thank you.
That is
I love
so inspiring.
I love all the plant-based and all the food you're doing and all the natural ingredients. It's so hard to find these days.
Yes.
And realizing how important it is of what you put in your body, what you put on your everything.
Yes.
Makes a big difference, and for you to use all the natural best ingredients is key.
Yes.
But thank you so much for having me. I haven't had anybody interview me or since or ask me questions, but I am on a mission to have people get their 3D mammogram.
Yes.
And a lot of times, I'm not a doctor, but a lot of times they want you to get your first mammogram when you're 40.
That was my next question.
And I'm not a doctor, of course, but I am on a lot of Facebook groups for women with breast cancer, and it is starting very young. I would recommend when you're in your 20s, early 20s, to get your first mammogram to get a baseline and to start early, because there's so many hormones in the food. And do not ever put your phone down here like you see so many people on your breast, on there, or by your ovaries. Do not put your phone in those locations.
Yes.
Keep it away from your body.
I used to. Sometimes it's on my shoulder now. I'm like, no, I should not even put it on my body. But yes, I've stopped that, which is, yes, I forgot about that. And then I put these little stickers that they say stops like a lot of is that true?
Oh.
It helps with the radiation or
okay.
something. Yeah. I need to know these terminologies better, obviously.
But well, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
I just love it. Cheers.
Cheers. We need to get to some more. Bye, guys.
Thank you. Oh, that was fun.
That was fun.